So I will answer Black Busa's question first, and then I will hand the camera over to my wife. Do I feel that there are any advantages to having an interracial marriage? I would say that yes, there are. I feel that with an interracial marriage, with a marriage anyway, there are things that you have to work on and things you have to pay attention to. I think with an interracial marriage, there's a lot more to learn. So you're not just learning, like say if Sidra was of my culture, then there's less things that I would be learning. It would just be what we already both know for the most part. We just have to learn about each other and that's it. You know, if I married a woman of the same culture, then it would be just about me learning about her as a person, not about her culture. With my wife, it is never a dull moment because I am learning always about new things from her culture, from her Pakistani culture. New foods are always being introduced to me. Dances, clothes, just different types of things in her culture. And I think that is one thing that maybe some people forget about when they marry someone of a different culture or race, is that they really should take the time and the effort to learn about that person's culture or race. I mean, think about it. I know friends who are in an interracial marriage, but they're just in love and they're married. There's not, and actually I know one couple in particular, they say they see no color. And that's really a bad mistake because that means you don't see the beauty of the other person's color or their race. I have learned is all of these things about Pakistani culture, about Desi culture, you know, and there's always something new to learn. Every time there's some type of event, you know, even Muslim culture, you know, I've learned more about that. Whenever there's something going on, I've always got a question like, okay, why are you doing that? It is always enlightening to me. So it is an advantage to be married to my wife because there's so many things that we learned. And I will say this, it felt like us against the world when we first got married. And so because we felt like so many were against us when we first got married. Now my family wasn't, and for the most part her family wasn't, except for her father, and for some family of hers in Pakistan they didn't agree with it. But still, for the most part, we just felt like it was us against the world because we live around a bunch of people from her culture, whether it's Pakistani, Indian culture, Bangladesh. All these people live around us. That is obviously how I met my wife. And of course, granted, this was like 11 years ago, but we got a lot of hate towards us. So it just made us closer. It didn't make us weaker, it made us closer together. If you start dating someone from another race or culture, or if you plan on getting married to them, it is very important to learn about their race, learn about their culture. And that way, when you have children, those children aren't confused. Those children aren't, oh, I wish I looked more like mommy's family. My children don't do that. My children have never been ashamed of their color. When my daughter, Gia, you know, is more tan, she's never felt insecure or said, how come, you know, so-and-so is lighter than me? I wish I was that light. You want to know why? Because I've always been there to enforce that her skin is beautiful. So it does make you check yourself when you are with someone of another race or culture. And if you don't, you're failing your marriage because you need to stop and think about how you think about them. I can tell you right now, when we first got together, I was very angry towards Pakistani, Indian, because all I got was hate. I got tired of being called the N-word. I got tired of being looked down upon. And I guess because I was just surprised because I was like, they're not white. And I just didn't like that. So I can say when we first started this channel, I was very angry, and we had videos that we took down a long time ago, because I was angry. I was just angry. And then when I realized, how about I take the time to learn about these people? And when I did that, it really, I don't know. I started wearing some of the clothes from my wife's culture, and people would come up and talk to me. People would, I guess when you have a certain negative energy, people see that, or you attract that. My energy is positive now. So even when negative is thrown at me, I just keep on going. I don't feel that someone should, and I need to say this, that yes, there are advantages, I think, to being in an interracial marriage. But I don't think that, because I know people who focus strictly on interracial marriage. There are beautiful Black women out there. There are beautiful women out there of your own race and culture. But you just never know who God throws at you. And that's what happened to me. So I feel if all you're doing is focusing on and putting down your own race and culture and focusing on another to marry or to date, then you're not doing yourself any favors, because your children are going to grow up confused. Your children are going to grow up wishing they were like mommy's family. I'm just going to say that right now, because I've seen that too many times in marriages where the person is Black and the other person is not. Too many children wish that they didn't have the hair they had, wish they didn't have the skin they had. That means those fathers failed their children. They did not do what they needed to instill in their children how beautiful they were and how beautiful their brown skin is. So I hope that answers that question for you, and I hope it wasn't too long, but it's beautiful out here. And now I'm going to hand this camera over to Sidra, and she can answer that question for you.
Okay, so now it's my turn. The question, the advantages of the interracial marriage. For me, yes, there has been a lot from my family background, where I came from, my cultural background. For me, I came from a reserved family. We weren't allowed to go out or anything, but marrying him, being in a relationship with him, I got to learn a lot more. I got more confident. I got more freedom to say. So for me, it was a plus, really positive. And I got to learn a lot, because his culture is completely different than mine. I have learned a lot from him, being married to him, being around him. And in our relationship, it has definitely changed us, both of us actually, both of our influences on each other's cultures and all that. So yeah, it definitely has influenced us. For me, like I said, it's a plus. This whole thing, the whole marriage has been a really plus for me. I got blessed with a good family, good man. So yeah. So in the interracial marriage, when you're or the relationship, if you're looking for a partner who is not from your race or somebody not from your country or anything, there's a lot of responsibility there. There's gonna be a lot of problems you guys gonna have. You're gonna have disagreements, agreements. So you both have to work on it. It's not one person. It's not the same type. So it's different. It's just like when we are kids, we're learning. Every grade we go in, we learn more and more. Increase our studies. Increase. It's different. You get different questions, different knowledge we get. Same with the relationship too. So it's just like that. Slowly you're learning. Every year you learn something more. So like we have been together for over 11 years now. Yes, in the start of the marriage it was a little difficult, very ups and downs. I was young and dumb, but our marriage has lasted because of his experience and the way we both are brought up. I'm really lucky that my mother-in-law actually brought up a real man, because he really helped me in all of this. So like I said, from where I came from, it was a little difficult for me. We were not open. We have like a stage fright type of thing. We're not social at all from just my family tradition. But being with him, I have been more open. Made friends of different cultures already, trying to learn more and more, getting into other cultures besides just both of our cultures. So yeah, there are gonna be advantages to the relationship, that you're gonna enhance your knowledge, you're gonna learn more. It brings out more of the respect for other cultures between each other. I'm not of a talker.
There was a two-parter for that question, and the second one was the flip side. Are there any disadvantages to having an interracial marriage? I kind of touched on that really in the first part. The advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, and the disadvantages, if you allow them to bother you, then it will overwhelm your marriage. Disadvantages to me are, if your partner is not strong enough, it will not work, because that means your partner will be the disadvantage of your relationship. Meaning, if they aren't strong enough, and I've seen this with other Pakistanis who were dating someone black, or someone of another culture dating someone of another culture. And I knew a Pakistani girl who was dating someone black, but she was too afraid to introduce him to her family. They were together for 5 years, and she left him simply off the fear of her father. So that is a disadvantage. You have to really make sure that you uplift each other in that relationship. You have to excuse me if I'm sounding a little, we're going uphill right now. So that would be the disadvantage to me of an interracial marriage, is that if neither of you can handle what's going to come towards you, and for the most part, I don't think, because even with us, it's not like it's every day that something happens. We enjoy our life, but you need to be ready for when those ugly situations do happen. And you definitely need to be ready when ugly situations happen to your children, because it will happen. One thing I think about what my grandmother said, because my grandmother was interracial. So she wasn't just biracial, she was interracial. She was mixed with a few things. And this, of course, we're talking back in the 60s, 70s. She said that she wasn't accepted as a black woman because she looked her skin was too white, and she said it didn't make any sense. Her hair was too straight. And she said she didn't feel comfortable around white either, because they were always wondering what the heck she was. So that would be a disadvantage in the sense of your children maybe feeling like they don't belong to one or the other. And our children even feel that way now. They identify as black, but then they have problems with black friends who might say, oh, well, you're not black though. And then so they get confused. And then I say, no, don't worry about being confused. Just listen to what I'm telling you. Or they won't be accepted by the other part of what they are mixed with. And all I can say is make sure you teach your children to just be proud of what they are, because that is going to happen. Not everybody's going to accept you.
Okay, so my turn for the disadvantages of interracial marriage. Well, just like the advantages, there are disadvantages. It just depends on how you are in your relationship. That definitely actually matters for the advantages and disadvantages in your relationship. If you are strong and you want your relationship to work, there are advantages, a lot of advantages there. But if you are weak and controlled by other people, and you're worried about other stuff, and you are not that strong and not that much in love with your partner, that's the biggest disadvantage. And a lot of the other disadvantages will follow that. So that's the main thing. So it just depends on your personality, how you're gonna work with your partner on it, how your partner is gonna work. So more than your partner gonna work is you, because it has to start from somewhere. So you have to start, you have to work it out, you have to make effort, so you both can be happy in that relationship. So just like in the other video for the advantages, I talked about that we both have been working, we have been married for over 11 years, we have been together because we both have worked together on it. So yeah, if you want to make it work, you have to work on it too. And just like we have children, and my family do ask me, it's like, how you bringing them up? The religion comes so many times, what you gonna do about the religion and stuff. So my opinion always has been like, it depends on my child, what my child wants. We are not forcing anything. We're gonna teach our children the right thing to do. We're gonna teach them all the right things. We're gonna teach them about all the cultures they have, and it just depends on them after that, what they think about it, what they want to choose to be. We are not going to force our children into anything. So that's our mentality. So everybody's different. So, and I know Rico has caught up on many of the disadvantages of the marriage or the relationship in a racial relationship. So the many disadvantages of the regular marriage or regular relationship, they also just goes into the interracial too, because when even you're from the same culture, same race, you still have to deal with the thing that you are from two different families. Each family has their own different tradition, their own different culture, so that also can clash. So you have holidays, where are you gonna spend at? My place or his or her place? So you have to think about that too. So just like that, when you're working on with the same culture, you have the same problems and same pros and cons as the interracial too. With the interracial, the only thing is that you have to try to understand them more, because they're a little different than yours. In the same culture, at least you know what's going on, what the basics are. But with the interracial, it's not. So yeah, it's a little more hard work, and both sides have to be strong. It really have to be strong, because I really have seen, even in my family, interracial relationships have not worked that good, because somebody is a weakling, somebody don't want to go against the culture and the people and the family. So you have to really think about that, and then all your decisions that you make is going to affect not only you and your partner, but everybody around you too. So I guess that's my 2 cents on it.